I always tell them there's three things that separate the franchisees, right? From a good franchisee to one of our bottom 20%. And our top 20%, they are following the franchise process. Why am I calling it Bay One when I can get a company to sponsor it? I can get $300 a month for having this company name on my Bay. So now instead of Bay One, it's...
Welcome to the Franchise Champion Show. I'm Alan Regala, former D1 athlete, Stanford engineer, and franchise owner who built a multi-million-dollar exit. I created this show to help aspiring entrepreneurs like you find the right franchise vehicle to build wealth and reclaim your time. My guest today is VP of Development for the Back Nine, an indoor golf concept that's exploding across America. In 2023, they had 15 locations. Today, they have 140 open with over 300 in the pipeline. Last year alone, they signed 312 new franchisees. The model is compelling. No employees, 24/7 operations, proprietary software running everything. They're exploding in the US and now expanding into Canada, the UK, and Australia. Darren Wilstead, welcome to the Franchise Champion Show.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Appreciate you having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about this concept and find out all the details. But first, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into franchising? What's your background?
Yeah, so my background is actually medical device sales. So I got out of college where I played baseball there and got into the medical device field. So I actually spent 13 years at a company called Zimmer Biomet, so a big hip and knee replacement company. So I sold there for quite some time and had a lot of success. And then we actually had an opportunity to move back home to St. George. So we moved back home and I still was with Zimmer. And Will Bangeter, our CEO and founder of the Back Nine, know his family really well. So started playing some golf with him, got involved in talking to him about what he's doing as an attorney. And then also at the time I knew he owned a standalone Back Nine. So we kind of started talking about that, started talking about how they're dipping their toes in franchising, and just said, hey, if you ever need someone to go and sell for you, I'd love to do that. And I jokingly said, you can't afford me, so just let me know. And just kind of went on our way. And then we got in some serious talks of, hey, are you serious about this? Is this something that you would want to do? And I said, look, man, I have no idea about franchising, but I can follow up with people and I can talk to people and I can sell. So I'd love the opportunity. So I actually went to my wife and told her that I wanted to leave my stable job with 401k and all that good stuff.
I'm sure that went over really well.
Yeah. And she's like, you're leaving to go to nothing, right? And I said, yeah, but I'm going to be in golf and I'll be happy every day that I wake up. So, and I've been happy every day I've woken up. You know, when you're not dealing with hospital systems or I shouldn't even say this, but orthopedic surgeons in a tense situation, it's kind of nice, right? So yeah. I get to relax a little bit, get to deal with people, get to talk to them about growing their wealth and their networks, and it's a joy. So it really is fun to be a part of the Back Nine. But I joined in 2023. At that time, there was 12 locations that were part of the Back Nine. And like you said, we actually just sold our 440th location today.
Oh my gosh.
And we're growing quickly. So it's been pretty fun.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. You were having this conversation, with the founder, and what was that like? Just as far as franchising a business and expanding a business like this, like what did that conversation look like? Because a lot of people we don't really talk about a whole lot about how franchises kind of get started, in the genesis of that. So like, what were those conversations like at the beginning?
Yeah, so we knew that we felt, I guess we felt that we had a good product. We had a good software system that we've built out that kind of allowed our franchisees to really kind of rely on them going out and growing the business than running the day-to-day. So we knew we had that, but we also knew, we didn't know what we truly had, right? So there was a ton of conversations around, what's the strategic like going into the markets? How are we going to do that? How do we maximize, lead flow and getting that into our facilities, into our, into the Back Nine, and getting people interested in what we had. And I think what, we finally came down to is our softwares take care of the day-to-day, the ability for this to really run itself because we don't have any employees, and how that was going to change kind of the market. Because as you looked around when we first started, it was very heavy employee saturated, right? So all the golf simulators had restaurants and bars tied to it. So there was more to it than just a golf simulator. And when we came to the market, it was just a golf simulator with a software that allowed you to have no employees, right? So we knew we were different enough to go in and make a splash. We just didn't know what that would be. We all left our full-time jobs kind of coming in and hoping this was going to work. But there was a lot of time in the early months where we didn't have a ton of leads, and we were scraping by to make things work. And there was a couple months where we didn't sell anything. And I got Will and Brady looking at me like, "What are you doing, dude?" So they're like saying, "Hey, what's going on?" So we figured it out, but I think it's really kind of has to do with our processes that we've built out into the system. With the no employees makes it easy for someone with a full-time job to run and manage this business. Not saying this is a hands-off business by any means, because you have to be fully engaged in what you're doing, but it definitely allows kind of a different environment to say, "Hey, I can still have a full-time job. I can go out and I can grow a back nine and sell memberships and corporate memberships, and allows me to bring an extra income into my household."
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so we should probably actually take one more step back and just say, okay, tell us about the back nine exactly, and who are your clients that are coming in, not the franchise owners, but the clients actually coming in to use this place. Like, what does that look like for them, as customers?
Yeah, so Back Nine was built for the golfer, and that's why it was built. Will is he's a scratch handicap, right? So he's a good golfer. He beats me every time we go out. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it, and I still go out and I bet. I don't know why I like losing money to him, but it was built because of that. Will wanted to play more golf. Being an attorney with a young family, that was his avenue of, hey, this is how I relieve my stress, and it was at night, right? So as he built this out, it was built because of what Will wanted, and it kind of just fit into what the golfer needs, right? So those who love golf and who are into golf that want to improve, this is the perfect setup. No one's watching over you. You get to go in, you get to come and go as you please. It's a 24/7 access facility. So we get people that are coming in at 4 a.m. We get people that are coming in at midnight, and they're working on their game when they can, right? And that's the beauty of it, and that's how we wanted to build this thing. Was this can be a practice facility, so you can see your numbers, you can improve your game, or it's a place where you can come in, you can bring in some buddies, you can hang out, and you can play competitively on a simulator, right? So this is true golf. In the beginning, we had to sell what indoor golf really was, right? And if you look at the statistics over indoor golf, year over year, it just keeps growing and growing. And it's pretty impressive to kind of see what those look like from just 2 years ago. Not a lot of people were playing both indoor and outdoor, and that number's increased by 65% just to this, 2 years later, where most golfers are now playing indoor and outdoor golf, and it's combined. So they're really feeding each other. So our end user is those who are passionate about golf, right? We're not the entertainment aspect of this, where we're doing a bunch of date nights. I mean, you can come to a date night here, but we don't have a server feeding you food and bringing you drinks and all that kind of stuff. This is really kind of built for golfers to come in, play, and participate and hang out with some buddies and compete.
Yeah, that is really cool. I'm one of these here that's indoor and outdoor. And, it's just so nice when it's raining, or if it's, the conditions aren't where you want to actually be outside, to be able to go in and play. And sometimes it's just like, hey, it's nice outside and whatnot, but like maybe I can't get a tee time, or maybe I don't have a full 4 and 5 hours to dedicate to a full round. I can just go and practice, for an hour.
For sure.
I think that's amazing. And I like the distinction between this concept and the other ones that are out there that have preceded it, which is, highly entertainment based, food based. And, it becomes a part of this other thing, which for the consumer, I mean, there's definitely a place for that, of course, if you're with some buddies and, this is entertainment for the family or whatever it is. But this is, I love as its own niche, being for, for that occasion, that specific customer who wants to practice, who wants to get good, and just have it be only golf, and it, impressively, just being able to go at any time. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So how does that work? They're booking online, so they know how they have a bay available.
Yeah. Yep. So we have online, or we actually have an app that we've built as well. So they go in, they'll book a tee time that works for them. And what the beauty of this is the way we've built this is we actually don't limit anyone on the amount of tee times they can hold in a month or in a week or whatever it may be. It's strictly 24/7 golf access to this. What we've done is we say, all right, you hold this membership, so you get X amount of bookings at one time. So our highest bookings you can have at one time is 2, and then everything else would be 1. So if I book today, what would happen is I book today and I want to play tonight. I get a text message from the facility, so from your back nine, and you get an email with a link to the door. That link will open the door 15 minutes prior to your tee time, and then when your tee time is over, it expires. So in order to get back into the facility, you'd have to book another tee time. So, but kind of touching back on those, the limited tee times that we let you hold at one time, once you book that tee time and you complete it, you can book the very next minute and book for the next 3 hours, right? So we don't limit you on, hey, you can book as much as you want Monday through Thursday, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you owe us an extra $20 because, like if you're a member, you get full access to our facilities. And we don't want to limit that. We want to make sure that our golfers, if they have an opportunity to play and the bay is open and it's being available, go play, go hit for 30 minutes, go hit for 3 hours, whatever you want, and based off kind of that membership type. But yeah, they're buzzing themselves in. They go in, they turn on the sim. We ask them to turn off the sim when they leave, and then they're done, right? And, luckily in the golf space, and you're a golfer yourself, the golf world is a little bit more, I would say, reliable and knowing that they're going to take care of things, right? So most golfers kind of have that golf etiquette, and we don't have any issues of people coming in and, hey, someone's on my bay. Like every time I've gone in and someone's there, it's like, hey, I just need to finish this hole. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, finish the hole and then we'll jump in after you, right? So it's pretty fun to kind of see people just get to come and go at their own leisure and what works for that in their schedule.
That's really awesome. And from a consumer standpoint, I mean, it sounds amazing. It sounds like a dream to be able to go into a space and utilize a facility to practice, to play around or do whatever, not have to, build it out in your own house or whatever, right? So let's talk about it from an owner perspective now, a franchise owner. So tell us a bit what that looks like for them as far as, getting things set up, getting things started, and then, operating down the road.
Yeah, that's the beauty of joining a franchise, right? Whether you join the back nine or you join a McDonald's franchise, you're joining a franchise so they can help you from day one, continuing on. And there's continued education and all that. And that's what we love here at the back nine is, as we bring franchisees on, we have so many processes in play to help them be successful, right? From meeting with our project management team after they buy into the back nine and getting a location set up, getting it approved and making sure that the simulators fit in the facility, to once that happens, they're going to a customer success manager. That customer success manager is going to help them build out their websites, help them build out their membership styles. There's so many things that they're going to help them through that process, start helping them with membership sales and corporate sales and their marketing tactics, all the way till they open their doors, right? Once they open their doors, that customer success manager actually sticks with them for the next 6 months, make sure they're profitable, coaching them through, as they get open and operational, and that they'll continue to find success in their area. So our goal is you join the back nine and we help you through the process, right? Like I said, our software is so good that it really kind of takes away the operation side of the business. So our franchisees are tasked to go out and sell and to grow the business, right? So most of the time we're looking for those who are in the market, who are marketing, kind of backgrounds or sales backgrounds, or, maybe if they're not sales backgrounds, they're not afraid to go have conversations, because that's what sales is, right? Just going out and not being afraid to, go talk to someone with a Titleist hat on or something like that. So those are kind of the franchise owners we're looking for, those who love golf, those who, want to go out and sell and grow their business, because that's the majority of this business. As much as we want to say this is a semi-passive business model, it's just like anything in life. Sometimes there's going to be times where it takes more than what we think, and there'll be times when it doesn't take as much as we think as well. So kind of fun to see.
That is really cool. Yeah, I mean, the software piece is really nice to take care of the operations. And, I think there are a lot of operators, a lot of owners who get into a franchise business and end up on the operations side a bit too much and kind of in the weeds and in the business when they really should be spending their time on the marketing and sales side.
Yep.
And here you can't really go wrong because all the operations are taken care of, right?
Perfect. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I want to take a quick pause here because we're talking about a model that runs 24/7 without you being there. Most of you listening are thinking, that's the dream, but will it work for me? You have the capital and the drive, but filtering through thousands of concepts like this to find the one that actually makes sense for you is overwhelming. That's exactly where I come in. I help aspiring business owners cut through the noise to find a path to financial and time freedom without the guesswork. I'll help you discover if a semi-absentee model like this is your perfect fit. And the best part is, my service is 100% free. If you're ready for a clear game plan for your exit, let's talk. You can book a 15-minute intro call using the link in the show notes, or just head over to athletetoowner.com/ready. All right, let's get back to the interview. So what does that look like from a time frame perspective? Someone, purchases, decides they find us. Well, let's say that they sign an agreement and they're, ready to get going. What does that look like generally from a time frame perspective of like being able to actually open it?
Yeah, so we're currently right now, we're sitting about 7 months to get a facility open. Our biggest delay right now is the lease side. Sometimes that can drag things out, right? You might start talking to them and 2 months later, you're actually signing the lease and getting things going. So if we could get some landlords that were a little bit more enthusiastic to sign a lease and get things along, it would be better for us. But sometimes it's a process. So usually about 7 months, but that's plenty of time to get the construction team in there, get the construction working, get our simulator company full swing in there, and get everything designed for the facility. So we're trying to shave off time on that, but that's typically around the time that we're at, about 7 months right now.
Got it. And what does that look like from a real estate point of view, as far as like how many square footage and how many bays is that?
Yeah, so typically our facilities are 3 to 4 bays. That's the majority of our locations. And the square footage is all going to range, right? We have different locations that are all different sizes because we're not building buildings. We're kind of finding where we fit in a Class B retail space across your designated territory. So, we're looking at anywhere from 700 to 800 square feet per bay. That includes your hitting area, your sitting area, common areas, bathrooms, just in general. So like a 3-bay facility, we're from 2,000 to 2,400 square feet. A 4-bay facility, you're probably anywhere from 2,700 square feet to 3,200 square feet. And it all depends on the layout, to be honest with you. And our team works with you and helps you kind of make sure that we're going to fit the amount of bays that you're looking for to do to make it profitable.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about this being, you have to put some work in, right? This isn't just a passive model here, and you use the word, maybe semi-passive. For someone that is in, let's say, the corporate world and is looking to, buy a franchise, but still wants to keep their job, but they have, 20 hours a week that they can, put into something on the side. Is this something that is doable with that, or are you looking for people that really want to go all in at the beginning?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So we have a couple franchisees, and when I literally maybe a handful, like if I were to count them on one hand, I think it's all that are all-time back, full-time back 9. Everyone else has a full-time job, right? Yeah, so most of them have a full-time job. They're spending the time, doing their day-to-day. They're spending time to do the back 9. So like I said, there's going to be times where it might require more than, an extra 20 hours. There also might be a time when, hey, I can go on vacation. I have someone that I can have the phones forwarded to, and I don't have to worry about it. The software is going to take care of it. I just need someone to go in and clean up and take care of a few things. So it really is super flexible. But like you said, it's going to have to, you have to spend time. You have to go out and sell and market it. But for the most part, it's a pretty robust business that we've built out for the franchisee to not only if they want to do it full time and have multiple locations, or hey, one's great and I want to keep my full time, 9 to 5 job, it's very possible to do that as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. And that's good to hear that this is an option. It's actually really surprising that you only have a handful of people that are full time. Yeah. That's very unusual.
Yeah, for sure.
So earlier in the intro, I mentioned you guys, growing so fast. You guys are exploding. Talk to me about this international, expansion, like where you guys are at with that now and what the plan is.
Yeah, great question. So when, the growth that we have, it's really unprecedented in what we're doing, especially in the franchise world, right? You look at, what most franchises sell on a yearly basis, and we're no in the same ballpark. It's been a huge year for growth for us, and we actually are continuing into it. We've already sold 40 deals this year, and we're in February. So it's kind of crazy from that standpoint. But as we look at expansion across the globe, one thing I want to make sure very clear is we know we can't affect what we're doing here in the U.S. This is our bread and butter, right? So as we thought of this and as we looked at, expanding across the globe, they came to me and our board immediately said, we're more than willing to let Darren go be the chief development officer of this, but it better not disturb what we're doing in the U.S., right? So as we came and we sat down as a leadership team and said, okay, we want to expand into Canada, we want to expand into Europe and in Australia. What's the best plan of action? So what we've done is we've actually hired country managers in each of those countries. Those country managers know that they live on an island. They are not to use the U.S. team unless it is approved by me and Dustin, our president of global expansion. So they know that they're on an island. They're kind of building this business on their own with, hey, here's some ideas that we've already done, because we don't want to disturb what we have going on in the U.S. because it's such a huge part of what's making things work right now. Yeah. So I actually oversee all growth throughout the entire globe, which is pretty fun to see. And we're starting to get a ton of interest in Canada. We're getting that interest in Australia and the UK. We actually just launched at the end of last year. So things are definitely picking up, but kind of make it clear for those who are joining here in the US with our franchise, it is very US centric focused. With these other countries, is they're on an island. We will help when we can, but our focus is still the US.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great for the owners here. Clearly that would be a concern, franchisors who grow too quickly and can't support the growth and can't support all the new franchisees that are just trying to get up and running, or, things change in the market or whatever, and, support is needed. It's good to know that the focus is still on the USA. And
for sure.
Yeah. Fantastic. So one thing I didn't realize until you mentioned it earlier in the call is that you play college baseball. So tell us a little bit about that. And, one of the focuses here, of course, on this show is, how sports, how athletics, really just competitive training in general can help prepare people to be successful in business. Tell us a little bit about your story and how that's helped you.
Yeah, great question. So I played high school baseball. That was my sport. I actually left and served a 2-year church mission for my church. So I left all sports, all school, all that, did a little church service, and then I jumped back into college baseball. That was difficult to do, I can tell you.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be hard.
Not seeing a fastball for a while and then trying to pick up on timing definitely makes it a little tough. But so I came back and I played a little bit. I'm be honest, my focus is kind of switched once I knew, like, hey, this is probably not reality. So I started really focusing on school and getting done. But I think, as you participate in athletics just in general, you learn whether you're losing, whether you're winning, whether you're a starter, or whether you're the first guy on the bench, right? Like, there's a lot to learn from athletics and kind of what it teaches you in life and how it compels to a day-to-day, right? I mean, my daughter's going through that right now in her high school career, as she's not getting maybe the opportunity that she wants, and talking through, how do you deal with that and how do you go through that? And I think in life, and especially with, owning your own business, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that come at you that maybe you feel aren't right, that should be going this way and it's not. But it's how do you handle it? And I think that's what athletics kind of teach you as you kind of grow up in sports and I mean, I'm sure, Alan, and you played college sports too. High school was a different beast than what college was, right? High school was fun. It was games. You go like, holy cow, this is a job. Like, they don't care. Like, they just want results. And that's kind of like a job, right? They want results. Whatever's happening back here, it doesn't matter. We just need results. So
it gets a lot more serious, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, and I think that's kind of just gives you a wake up call for what the rest of life's going to be and how to handle those challenges. And I think, being a star athlete on the high school team and being the number one guy, and then going to college and all of a sudden you're not that guy, then you're battling for a spot has taught me a lot in kind of the world that I live in, especially going into a competitive sales environment in orthopedics. There's a lot of talented people, and you kind of just got to put your head down, right, and go to work. And something that's taught me is, the grind, putting the time in, putting the effort in. And if you do that, you find success and results in all different aspects of life.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, knowing you're not going to win every time you go out there, right? And you got to pick yourself back up. And I think a sales position is, I think it all like leads up to that really, because in sales, you're not going to win 100% of the time. And so, being an athlete and who's competing and being willing to lose, and then get back up and try again, that's like really the perfect segue into something like sales.
Yep, for sure. It's so true. It's so true.
So for your owners that are out there right now, it sounds like only a handful of them are really in it full time, and you've got a lot of people that are, have other jobs, have their corporate career or whatever. Maybe they're operating multiple units. What is the difference that you see in those that are, just kind of getting by and doing okay versus those who are really crushing it right now?
Yeah, there's kind of, as I do final interviews with those that are coming in, and as we award these territories, right, we're lucky enough to be in this opportunity where we're awarding franchises instead of selling them. So as we award these and talk to these people, I always tell them there's three things that separate the franchisees, right, from a good franchisee to one of our bottom 20%. And our top 20%, they are following the franchise process, right? You joined a franchise for a reason, so they've been through it, they understand it. We are doing it on our own too, because we have corporate stores, so we know exactly what these franchisees are going through. So follow the process. We see a lot of success with those that kind of say, all right, I'm just going to do what you wanted us to do. And who we've seen really good at that are military people. They come in and they're just like, look, we got it. We'll follow. We'll listen to what you say, right? I mean, that's what they're bred as they go into the military, right? They have to do that. They have to follow their command. So we're not telling franchisees to not bring what they've learned from a different business or a different model, whatever it may be. We're just saying we've opened a lot of stores. We've seen a lot of success. At least listen to what we have to say. Go out and try to execute it. And then if there's different tweaks or things that you can see to be beneficial, we'd love to learn from it too, right? So following and trusting the franchises is probably the biggest thing. The second one would be, The second one would be dominate your local marketing, right? You can't come into this business and not expect to put money back into it to be able to drive customers and get people into your facility. So those that we're seeing struggle a little bit are not investing into their local marketing. They're not spending that time and that money on that. And it reflects, right? If you're not putting money into marketing, you're not seeing anything coming back out of it. Those two definitely correlate with each other. So spend that time, spend the money, dominate that local marketing, get people into the facility because you're investing into your business. And then the last thing would be engage in the local community, right? So as you go out as a franchisee, if you see someone with a Titleist hat and you're not talking to them, and you're not going up to them and telling them you have a back nine location, they should come play, you'll give them a free hour, that's a problem, right? So, you got to be actively talking, you got to be actively selling, engaging in the actual franchise system as well with your customers that you currently have. Get to know them, understand them. It's easy to cancel a membership at the back nine, but if Alan owns a back nine and I know Alan and he's my buddy now, it's a lot harder to cancel on Alan that is just a back nine, right?
Yeah.
And then the last one of kind of that third pillar would be engage in the local businesses. As you go out and sell memberships to local businesses and get them to sponsor maybe a bay or on the TV, those are things that a business sometimes has just the extra income to do with. One, it can be an employee benefit for their employees. They can use it as a customer benefit opportunity to say, hey, let's meet at the back nine or use the back nine tonight on us. And then also it's a tax write-off. So those are those three things of kind of engaging the local community and being part of the back nine. And so those are the top three that I would say are why people are successful. It's been pretty fun to see.
I love it. That last one you mentioned, sponsorships from other businesses. That's really interesting. I didn't realize you guys did that. So how does that work exactly? Is there like advertising on the screen or something like that, or they have like their name somewhere, or they just get to use it?
Yeah. So you wouldn't imagine the creativity that some of our franchisees are coming up with, right? So when we first started this, it was just Bay 1, Bay 2, Bay 3, right? And one of the franchisees is like, why am I calling it Bay 1 when I can get a company to sponsor it and I can call it the company name, right?
So smart.
Yes, right? So,
so smart.
I can get $300 a month for having this company name on my bay. So now instead of Bay 1, it's, whatever company it may be. And so as I'm booking as a customer, now all of a sudden, every time I book, I'm booking under that company name, and that's the day that I'll be assigned to. So there's all sorts of things. There's advertising on the TVs. We usually have one TV that's dedicated to kind of advertisements. There's ball sponsors where people can put their logos on balls and kind of sponsor the balls that people are hitting. So there's all sorts of different things you can do in those facilities, and it's been kind of fun to watch some of the franchisees come back with, this is what we did, and we're like, man, that's a great idea. Let's add that to what we're doing. So
I love it. I love it. Marketing is one area where I really feel that in franchising, the franchisor is going to provide, the systems, processes, all the ideas of like, here are the things to try. In every market, it's not always going to work the same in every single market. So people have to test things out, but you're getting that list of things that have worked in other areas. But marketing is one of those things that I love, that you can be so creative. There's a lot of opportunity for things like that where you can, make stuff up and try to, create a win-win where you can, you're helping someone else out and then it's bringing in revenue at the same time. And, I love that idea. That's so cool.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed having you on the show, Darren, and learning more about Back Nine and its growth and what it takes to be successful. So, thank you so much for joining me and congrats on being a franchise champion.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Alan, for the time. Great to be on your show.
I hope hearing Darren's story clarified what a true semi-absentee model actually looks like. It's easy to get excited about no employees and 24/7 access. But as we discussed, winning still requires execution, whether you're on the field or running a business. But listening is only the first step. The real question is, what's the right vehicle for you? I help professionals like you filter through the noise to find the franchise that fits your life, your capital, and your goals. Whether it's a concept like the Back Nine or something completely different, I can help you find the right match, and my service is 100% free. Stop guessing and start building your future. Book a quick 15-minute intro call with me using the link in the show notes, or just go to athletetoowner.com/ready. I'm Alan Regala, helping you go from athlete to owner. I'll see you in the next one.